What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review. I'm Randall. That's Kevin. We're hanging out talking about records. Kevin is vocalist for Valhalla Cinema, a band that you've probably heard me talk about quite a bit recently, but they've been around a little while in Houston now. One LP and a split 12-inch record coming out here real soon with Lonesome Haunts, both bands from Houston. Lonesome Haunts are easy to describe. It's like the Gaslight Anthem meets Lucero, almost in 50-50 parts. It's a little harder to describe Valhalla Cinema. How would you describe your sound? Because to me, this is like kind of old school hardcore.
We're a bunch of guys that like different stuff. Some of us are really just in love with early American hardcore from the early 80s to the mid 80s, like myself. That's what I love the most. The other guys like everything from punk to alternative music to metal. So I think if you like hardcore, it's like a hardcore opera.
Yeah. There's like, you can feel the foundation of the band is like early hardcore, especially with the guitar riffs and such. Mm-hmm. And then the vocal melodies are what really change it up, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm also learning a lot about early hardcore and realizing that I didn't, my knowledge of hardcore was like late 90s on. I didn't have a lot of early knowledge. So I'm learning that I didn't have the right definition. There's a whole different, I'd say like the first wave of it and the second wave are so massively different that
sure, absolutely,
there are people like yourself that are fans of the early stuff almost exclusively. With I'm sure there's some exceptions, but most of what you listen to is stuff that you could almost just call punk if you were trying to describe it to somebody that didn't know what they're talking about.
I'm a thing of the past that enjoys the past.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I like a lot of modern stuff too that you've taught me about a lot. But what I really love is that early era.
Hell yeah, dude. So for anybody who's watching this will be dropped early in the week, probably midweek. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get this up on Wednesday.
Cool.
There's a show this weekend in Houston. So if you're hanging out in Houston, go to the End. Hold on. It's on Lawndale. What's the street number on that one? Let's see. Do you know what time it starts? Is it doors at 7 or doors at 8? Doors at 7.
I believe it's doors at 7. There's an indoor show and an outdoor show. I can't tell you all the bands on the inside, but on the outside, as Randall mentioned, Valhalla Cinema, my band, Rooftop Boxer, the Poppers, Necrotones. It's like going to be a fun show of Houston bands I like and I've gone to see, but we haven't had a chance to play with them yet. Right. So this is going to be, that's kind of our criteria when we play Houston. It's always like, we love the bands we love, but we want to play with bands we've never got to play with before. And I think that's the way to do it.
You mix it up and get new crowds. That's how you build grow your listener base and fan base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
7124 Lawndale is the street address, but doors at 7. Show probably starts around 8. There's 4 bands at the show we're going to be at. So if you're in Houston, please come hang out, support your local punk rock scene, man. It's important to get people out to these local shows. I think it's like $10, something like that. It's super cheap. We're just hanging out. I'll be out there filming stuff like I usually do, taking photos for Poppers because they got a new LP coming as well. So I got 2 projects on my label that I'm working with that are like reasons for me to be out there. Plus, there's a small possibility that I work with the Necrotones in the future. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. That band's great, man. And even if I don't, I like those guys a lot. So nothing but love for this whole lineup.
Love Necrotones, and I have because my drummer has recorded music for Poppers and Rooftop Boxer. I've been a little privy to some of their new stuff, and it's amazing.
Popper stuff is great. I haven't heard the new Rooftop Boxer stuff yet, but
yeah, it's really good as well. It's very proud of Charlie for.
Dude, he's rocking and rolling right now.
Yeah, man, he's got Lobot Studios really going, and everything I've heard from the Necrotones that they've posted is amazing, and I think their live shows are really good. So I'm really excited for this.
So much better in the last like 8 months. Because they're a pretty young band of dudes that haven't. I don't know them well enough to know if they've played in other bands, but they're a young group as a, unit. And I know that when I first started seeing them play, it was much earlier on in their journey together. So they've come a long way. Shout out Corey. That's my homie, man. Okay, so we're gonna talk about records today.
Let's do it.
We're talking about. I think we can just alternate back and forth. I don't know that there is an actual legitimate set of like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but we're talking about like our 5 favorite records. Kevin's got a bigger record collection than I do. Mine's straight up just my 5 records that I love the most that I own. So yeah, before we get into records, if you have the desire to support this channel any more than you already do by watching videos, Patreon's linked in the description below. We've got an exclusive Discord, giveaways every month, early footage now. The stuff actually gets dropped a day or so early on Patreon. This one having to do with the show on Saturday, I'm probably going to just push it on YouTube the same day. But we also have some exclusive content. There's all kinds of cool stuff on there. But if you want to, you don't have to. Obviously, you support however you want to, and we appreciate it either way. That all being said, let's talk about some records. I'm going to let actually, if I go first, that means you'll end the show. That makes the most sense to me. So I'll go
you go first, Randy.
And yeah, man, it was actually quite easy for me to make this little list of records. Let me double check, make sure I just picked up 5 and not 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start with one that is not expensive at all. It is just fairly hard to find. And when I got it, I haven't been this excited about a record in quite some time. I finally was able to get a copy of Rancid Life Won't Wait demo sessions.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've recently talked about this album, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But have you heard these songs?
I have not, but when I first met you, this was one of the ones you told me you were looking for. So I'm glad you came across a copy.
It's been on the list for a long time. I can't remember who it was, so my apologies. But somebody from the channel sent me a link and said, "Hey, I found this. Were you looking for this still?" And I was like, "Oh shit,
that's awesome."
Yeah, it's got these. I mean, they're very different versions of a handful. The A side is literally all demos from Life Won't Wait. So you've got Who Would Have Thought, The Wolf, Backslide, Cash Culture and Violence, Things to Come, Brad Logan, and Hoover Street. All great songs, right?
But I love Brad Logan. Yeah.
Brad Logan's so good. That's the only one that I think is from before this.
Although, what song do you play the most out of it? Or do you,
shit.
If you're going to hit repeat, which song would you hit repeat on the most? On a long car drive?
It might actually be Brad Logan on this particular
record. Okay.
The only thing is, though, is that on the B side, you have 7 silencers tracks. Do you remember that band?
I do, because you had mentioned them.
Yeah. Dude, so it's kind of hard because you have songs that I don't know anybody's got access to this stuff outside of this record. So
sure.
Man, I don't. Oh, you know what? The Wolf, the demo version of The Wolf might actually be the one. It's between that and Brad Logan, but this is one of those records that Life Won't Wait is tattooed on my throat. It's clearly an important record to me, right? So I think I prefer these versions of the songs, though. I wish I could get my hands on an entire LP's worth of demo tracks for them of the whole record, because I bet I bet it would be crazy, because this stuff sounds night and day. It's it's completely different versions. It's very clearly demos, though. They're not super mixed, and the mastering wasn't done real well, but the actual music is way better. Go to the living room. Thank you. Can you keep it down? This is the second time we've had to talk. Parker, look at me. Can you be quieter? Okay. Last chance, okay? Third chance, and that's it. This is the last time. All right. Everybody knows who that is in the background. I ain't even really tripping, but he's distracting me because he's giggling, and I'm like, "What are you laughing at?" Anyway, these songs are incredibly important to me, just as an LP. That record was one that came in a weird time in my life. So, but anyways, Rancid. I almost said B-sides and C-sides. It's the Life Won't Wait demo sessions, and it's a bootleg, so you can't even find it on Discogs or anything, really. So
wow, nice find.
What you got for me, bud?
Okay. So at my number 5, I'm going to go with the Necros IQ 32. This is one of Necros were from Maumee, Ohio. This is one of my favorite 7-inches, and the reason I picked this version of it, which is a third pressing, Randall and I went to punk rock bowling in May, and one of the best times I had was going to their new record store upstairs called Vinyl Threat, and there's an awesome guy that's become a good friend of mine named Lance that works the upstairs. He's real good to Randall and me. And he was very knowledgeable at the records, the pressings, and this was the first, I believe, month they had these records. This record was from Fat Mike's record collection. Came with they put an Obi strip on it, and then I'll try to get that close. They have a picture on the back of Fat Mike with the record, and with different records he makes like a different facial expression. I like this one because you could tell it looks like he's kind of in pain letting this record go.
Right.
So although I have different pressings of this record, I was happy to get like a record from Vinyl Threat there that belongs to a musician in the punk scene. So I thought this was really cool. So this is my number 5 pick. NoFX also covers IQ 32 on their 10-inch record of hardcore songs.
Hell yeah.
So number 5, Necro's IQ 32.
So Necros are a band that I am fairly new to, but you were kind of like, at least I assumed you were kind of joking around. You're like, hey, y'all should cover these 4 albums on a video soon.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes my life much easier. I don't got to think about it. So me and Nitty are covering the 4 you talked about, and one of those is a Necros record. So
Conquest for Death. Yeah.
A lot more to say about that band in the next week or so.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I'm so, whether you liked it or not, I'm still so excited to see it. So no matter what, if you liked it or not, it's cool. I'm just happy you guys took the time to listen to it.
Tonight, after, so I'm doing two shows tonight. So after that, I'll be done around 9:30. Gives me a couple of hours to like wind down. I'm going to be listening to the Necros one and probably the Dix one because I don't have a lot of experience with the Negative Approach album and TSOL. I'm already working through, but Negative Approach was easy. I was like, hell yeah, I'll listen to Negative Approach.
Fuck yeah.
Is it Tuesday today? I'll listen to Negative Approach.
Yeah, I think you'll love Dick's Kill from the Heart. Imagine yourself driving from Houston to Austin in the years like 1980 or 81. Just put yourself in that mindset of the content of the lyrics that you're hearing, and the songs are catchy, and you'll find yourself starting to sing them. And when Charlie, my drummer from Bala Cinema and owner of Lobot Studios, whenever we take trips to Austin to go see bands, we listen to the Dick's Kill from the Heart and random big boy songs from the records. And we always say, imagine living in that time as we're listening to that record and the things people were enduring during that time and how it must have felt to be in, the scene or be in those bands during that time. So, yeah. So anyways, maybe something to think as you're listening to it is like,
I definitely
think about, because I know you go to Austin a lot, just think of that car drive. And whenever I'm in Austin, I think about, there's the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue.
Yeah.
I always think Gary Floyd of the Dicks and Biscuit of the Big Boys are the ones who should really have statues in Austin.
At least from our point of view, that's absolutely the case. I'm going to Austin next week, man. I can't wait. I'm going to go see Chris Klink and hang out for a little while, work on the house out there and stuff.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Big Boys are the ones that have kind of an eclectic sound, right?
Yeah, you have to kind of know what you're in for.
That's one that I didn't care
I'll send you. I'm going to send you a mix of what we covered for Houston's You Ain't Punk show, which is kind of the little more fiercer punk numbers. So maybe start with those and see if it registers.
Had songs that I liked, but like as a whole project, I was like, man, I'm not really feeling this. But then I felt bad because I'm like, I should. But like, as you know, there's a lot of these earlier bands that I have a lot of trouble getting into, at least initially. So
the Big Boys are like a movie. It's like if you saw the second or third sequel of a movie and you had to like it and make sense, and you're like, I don't know if I like it because I don't really understand. It's like you have to see it all. That's kind of the thing. Like Godfather 2 is a masterpiece, right? But is it a masterpiece if you never saw the first one?
It's a good point.
So, yeah.
Like jumping off into a catalog of music like from a band like, say, Metallica, and your jump off point is like Load, and you really like that album.
There you go. That's a good one. Yeah.
And then you go back and somebody's like, dude, you should hear Master of Puppets. It's like their best record. And you're like, okay, cool. But you're some like dad guy that cuts your ass on the weekends. And like, you go back and listen to Master of Puppets and you're like, this is like way too fast. I don't understand this. And you're like, dude, it's so good though.
Yeah.
But, I think music is something people get passionate about, man. I don't really like get so much bothered by people disagreeing with me at all. I just get like perplexed by particular comments made. I don't really understand.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I get told my favorite band sucks all the time. I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter to me at all.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Speaking of my favorite band,
I think I know what's coming.
Yeah, to nobody's surprise, I got Rancid Records in this conversation.
No, not possible.
Okay, so actually, let's see. I got one. Oh, damn. I may have to do.
If you need to fit an extra one in there, Andy, that's fine.
I have to because I completely forgot about this
That's
record
no
that I bought.
problem.
Like,
No
it
problem.
needs to be like talked about. Yeah. This one I'll just make real fast. Everybody knows what this record is. It's a sealed copy, first press. Out Come the Wolves. It just means a lot to me. It's the first time I found and bought a sealed copy, and it was really early on in my. This is my second run buying and collecting records. I lost everything in a flood in 2017. So like, This was one of the very first records that I bought, and it's not as in good a condition as the one that I got rid of. You know what I'm saying? But it meant more solely based on the fact that I found it kind of before it was as expensive as it is now, and it's not incredibly pricey, but it's my favorite album. It's a first press. I've got subsequent pressings. I listen to those. I'm even doing like a little short on a picture disc that I got, which oddly enough doesn't have like the last 5 songs on it. It's weird. I don't understand why they did that. But yeah, my first press of And Out Come the Wolves is very important to me. That being said, I want to shout out one more thing real quick, and then I'm going to move on. Kevin, what's your favorite Rancid album?
Oh God, I'm gonna go with Let's Go.
I honestly, I kind of thought you might say that. That's a very popular opinion pick for first favorite.
Sure.
Most people would say either that or Out Come the Wolves. But forgetting that I had this because it was hidden behind 2 12-inch records, because this is a 10-inch, is probably what should take the 4th spot for me is this Downfall 10-inch.
Yeah, that's so rad. I remember when you got that. I didn't even know that existed, and then I looked it up on Discogs. That's so cool.
One of the few times that I've been like giddy to the point of actually giggling that I was like, I can't believe I found this. And it was not cheap, but it was one of the first times that I've had a record that is hundreds of dollars that I just snap bought. I just went, no, I have to buy this, credit card or not. It has to happen. But for anybody that wonders what this is, Downfall is a band that had Tim and Matt, and I don't actually know a ton about the band because there's not a lot of information about them out there. So I don't know who else is in the band, but it's a project in between Op Ivy and Rancid. So it was very short-lived, but it sounds more like Op Ivy than it does Rancid. It's very heavy on the ska stuff, but it still sounds like Rancid. It's weird, man. But it's only like, I don't know, 10 or 12 songs, something like that. But a lot of them are very rough. They're demo cuts, and it's just, I collect this Rancid stuff, and I had to have that, man. It was one of the coolest things I bought last year, man, for sure. So yeah, that's my combined number 4. So what you got for, Kevin?
That's great. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go.
Man,
I'm gonna go with Leatherface Mush. Around 2007, I think I went full into making vinyl my priority.
Okay.
Over CDs and cassettes. I'd kind of collected a little of everything till then, and then I got really into vinyl. And this was the hardest Leatherface for me to find. And it's an original first press on Roughneck Records, and it was so hard to find. And at the time, I don't even think there was a bootleg or certainly wasn't any reissues official. And I had the hardest time finding this. And again, my criteria is like, I'm trying to remember back to how excited I was when looking at like a postal tracking number for the record coming. And I remember when this came in, I was so excited to hold it in my hands and get to, play these songs and hear them as God intended on vinyl. And anyways, so this is easily my number 4. So
dude, Nitty's gonna be pumped to see that. That's like one of his top albums, period, of his whole life.
The other record's not so hard to get. This one, still, if you're trying to get a first press, it's very hard to get. Yeah.
I think Parker just decided he was done getting told to be quiet.
Oh, bye, Parker.
He was like giggling again, and I touched his foot, like, "Hey, man, be quiet." And he just got up and left. He's like, "All right, I'm out of here." Yeah. So I've been a fan of Leatherface for a long time, but it's been like in a different. How do I say this, man? Like, I never listened to a ton of their albums. I just liked what I knew, and I knew I had Cherry Knoll. I had Horsebox, which I really like, and then I had the Hot Water Split.
Yeah, all good ones.
Yeah, and I just didn't know much about the band outside of those releases. And so maybe early in 25, Nitty brought up the fact, he's like, bro, if you like Leatherface, you got to hear Mush. And I was like, I mean, I'm open to anything Leatherface. I don't know much about them outside these 3 albums.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't know these other albums? I'm like, no. And then I ended up getting that collection of stuff from you and had some of the CDs. So I kept the Mush CD because of that. But that album is basically perfect. Like I when you pulled that up, I was like, oh yeah, that would make me excited to own as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's I have a CD copy, so I'm good with that. But
sure,
if I ever got an opportunity, that's what I would definitely purchase. That's badass.
For sure.
When did you pick that up?
Gosh, that was probably it had to be earlier than 2009, I think.
Dang, so you've had that one for a long while.
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while to find it too. I remember how hard it was, like trying to find some place that had it. And I want to say on some message board or something, I think I reached out to someone in England, and because I remember when I got the package. I don't know. Have you ever bought records from someone? You open the box and then you open it up. It's like, boom, cigarette smoke, or cigar smoke. And you're like, whoa. It seemed like it took a long time for this to not smell like cigar or cigarette smoke.
Dude, I get so frustrated when people don't at least tell me beforehand that they lived in a house full of cigarette smoke. I smoked for a long time and I never smoked indoors though. So I don't like getting products that have that smell on them. It drives me nuts. That album is amazing, man. I really like it. I like that record a lot. Are you when you have an old first press or a rare copy of something, do you still play your records on like that?
I prefer not to. If there's a reissue that I could play, I would rather do that. But there's some cases where that's not an option, or there's not a reissue or a bootleg, so I end up I will just play it. Or if it's very rare, then I'll end up just streaming it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. You don't want to ruin a record that's like, let's say you got like a near mint, something that's, $1,200. You're like, man, I'm not going to scratch that record because I had to play my dude. Buy a CD, throw it on the record, the stereo, and be happy with it. Like
exactly. Yeah. If there's a band I like and I go see them and they don't have like vinyl with them, they have CDs or tape, I'll gladly buy it and enjoy it.
Hell yeah! All right, man. Number 3 is a cool one. Are you ready? Or are you good?
No, I'm ready. Cool. Linda, I'm sorry to interrupt. I knew it was your pick coming up, so I was going to let my dogs out to the bathroom real quick so they didn't start making noise.
I wanted to make sure that there wasn't something else happening that you had to address. It's all good. So I got to do my first, at least to me, it felt like a big deal. I went to LA Punk Invasion.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to be part of their media and press, and it was really cool. So I got there early and I got a wristband, and I was like kind of walking around, and there was a table, like a booth full of, they had a bunch of vendors out there and stuff. You tend to see that at these big fests. And one of the vendors was some people that I met in Dallas at the last NoFX show. And when I saw them, they remembered me and they were like, hey, I know you. And I was like, hey, what's up? And they were like, yeah, you bought they remembered exactly what I bought too. I bought this Chin Chin record off of them.
Oh yeah.
The band's so dope.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you got anything that's not out here yet that I can look through? And they were like, because they were still setting up. And he was like, actually, I got a box of stuff that you might be interested in. And anybody who's familiar with the channel knows that I'm very recently, like in the last 2 years, become a fan of The Clash and their first 2 records specifically. And I picked up this 1978 Japanese press of Give 'Em Enough Rope with the Obi. And it's like,
cool.
Oh, dude, it's about as clean as you're going to get without it being like genuinely new and unopened. I mean, it's if I had to sell this, I would list it as near mint. Like it's in perfect condition. And I was like, how much do you want for that record? And I'm not trying to I don't usually talk about prices often. I might a couple times in this one because some of the stuff is so ridiculous that I had to. And he was like, man, I don't know how you feel about $100. And it just didn't seem crazy to me. I was like, $100 sounds like, I felt like that was a good value. And the condition was so nice that I just was like, dude, here. I was like, here's cash, bro. Let me have this. And I bought that before I had bought like any of the shirts from any of the touring bands, and I felt kind of bad. So I kind of went overboard, bought a bunch of extra shirts I didn't really need because I just I need to spend the money on like touring bands merch. But Give Enough Rope has become an important record to me. It's very obviously where Rancid was inspired, early on, and it's easily my favorite record by that band.
Cool.
But it's the one that switched me over, man. I heard 5 seconds of the album and it completely changed my mind. It honestly made me feel pretty stupid but I was laughing because I was like, this is hilarious. Like I had never heard that record until like 2 years ago. And within a minute, I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm a fan of this band now. And I never in my life thought I'd be wearing a Clash t-shirt or something. So
Oh, that's so funny.
shout out to just being able to accept that things change. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't know how you feel, but if tomorrow I woke up and I suddenly decided I wanted tomatoes and onions on a sandwich, I would just have tomatoes and onions on the sandwich. And if people were like, what? I thought you didn't like tomatoes and onions. I'd be like, yeah, well, I do now. Is it that weird? And so,
Yeah, for sure.
You like the Clash or no? I can't remember.
No, I love the Clash. Yeah.
What's your favorite Clash album?
Oh, I'm gonna go with the first one.
It's very close behind that one. I like the first one a lot too.
If anyone listening has never seen the documentary, I think it was by Dick Rude called West Way to the World. It kind of does a great breakdown of all the albums. And that first one, I believe the major labels, they didn't think it was, like, in their words, fit for American consumption. So it took a while for, I think, that one to get into stores, the first record. And for me, it's just the most vicious record by them. It's just like,
it definitely is.
Yeah, they changed the lineup. They originally had Keith Levine, who went on to be in Public Image Limited in the band. They had a different drummer, and then it's just like they kind of found the right chemistry with, of course, the signature group of people there. So I really love that record. I think I like almost all the Clash records. There are some that are like I don't care for as much, but like even Cut the Crap has some song. I know a lot of people hate that, but it has some songs I like. Like, was it This Is England, and there's some songs, but yeah. Anyways, the first one's my favorite.
Most bands have at least, like, if you're a band that falls under the banner of punk and or hardcore, I would be pretty surprised if there was 0 songs in your catalog that I liked. I mean, even Turnstile, as much as I dislike that band, they've got a few songs that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
The Clash were you a fan of the Clash like early on, or were they something you had to like grow into?
No, they took me a little bit of time because as I was either 14, 15, and I was kind of tracing back the lineage of like what people were saying like was older punk, and you start listening to it like, oh, I like the Sex Pistols, they're pretty, intense. And then with a band like the Clash that has a huge catalog of music, same as like we're talking about the big boys, if you don't run across the right stuff, like, because what I remembered about the Clash was being a kid in the 80s and my sister playing the MTV videos for Rock the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go? And I thought Rock the Casbah was a silly song. I hated it. Should I Stay or Should I Go? I thought was awesome. But
I still feel that way about both of those songs.
Yeah. When I saw the video with my sister, I remember thinking like, Mick Jones looked like a badass. I was like, man, he looks so cool. Because most of the bands at the time, like the guys kind of looked like hippies and they had long hair, or they had the new wave thing. And I just like, as a kid that's playing with these like very masculine toys, like He-Man or G.I. Joe, like, some of the guys like say like the dude from Flock of Seagulls, you're like, nah,
right?
Like, I'm not into this. But I saw Mick Jones in that video. I was like, man, that dude looks like he'd kick your ass. Yeah.
Dude, you're probably one of the handful of people that I've talked to in person. Most people that are on the internet running their mouths probably aren't worth talking to anyways, but you're one of the few people that I talked to that immediately understood what I was talking about with like getting into a band the right way the first time, because it took me ages to get into the Clash because of how I was introduced to them.
Yeah. Sure.
I go into a record store, talk about I like punk rock and I like to skateboard, and I'm 15 or 16 years old, and they hand me Combat Rock, and I'm like, sweet. Nope. I just bought it, went home, and I played maybe half that record and was like, yeah, dude, straight up. I put that on my desk and it just got stacked CDs on top of it for ages, and it just sat there at the bottom. Yeah. I was like, I don't have enough money to be throwing it away because my dad will kill me, but I'm not going to listen to it much. But, shout out to Clash, dude. It's one of those bands that whatever. I don't even care. I'm glad I like them now. That's all. I'll say it like that.
For sure. For sure.
Here's another band that I have a weird relationship with because of how I got into the band. But this record is awesome. And you mentioned earlier we went to punk rock bowling together, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm fixing to hold up. We went to that record store, and I think we were really fortunate, man. We were probably some of the first people there that were willing to buy like something that wasn't $25. Like we were like, well, what do you have that's like really cool that we can remember this? Like I'll never forget that trip with you for many, many reasons. But one of the reasons is this record I'm fixing to show everybody. I genuinely can't even believe I have this in my hand still. It's like kind of nuts, man. But I was able to pick this up. And I talked to Kevin about it. There was 2 Misfits records. There was this, and what was the other one? It was
wow, that made number 3. I swore that was going to be number 1.
No,
that's really cool.
2. Number 3 was
okay.
The Clash.
Okay.
No. My number 1's you're gonna go, oh, that makes sense. Because this would on any other day, this would be the one, man.
Yeah.
This was Fat Mike's personal copy, like Kevin said, of the first press of Walk Among Us. It's a little beat, but I played it at Chris Klink's house in Austin, and the actual vinyl, it's got a little background noise, but it sounds so good. And honestly, it fits this record so well that you kind of really can't tell, because the early Misfits recordings are noisy anyways. Like they're real bad recordings. So like this sounds kind of awesome. And I don't mind like the promo corner cut. I don't mind the fuzzy edges and the rounded corners. I don't give a shit, man. I love the silly picture that it comes with. Yeah. And the Obi strip. I mean, this is just one of the coolest records. And I mean, I was nervous about buying this. I called my wife. I was like, hey, this was a lot of money, and I'm not going to get into exact figures, but I called her. I said, hey, what do you think about this? And she was like, super, dude, look, for all the, nonsense her and I have gone through in our whole very long relationship, like, she's so badass, dude. She was like, yeah, that's important to you. She's like, doesn't he have songs about that record that you listen to? And I'm like, that's a good point. I was like, yes, he does. I was like, she's like, you ever going to be able to find that again? And I was like, fuck no, man. That is never coming back up for sale. And I don't think it would. I think somebody else would have got it probably that day, that weekend, and I would have never seen that opportunity again. I wish I could remember what the other one was. The other record was in a little bit better shape.
No, so I think I remember. You were looking at 2 Misfits records. Yeah. The other one was Die Die My Darling.
That's what it was.
And you were showing me both, and I was kind of comparing the price. I said, well, this is like probably like the best record. And for the price comparison, I would go with this. I think you'd have a lot harder time. And also, that record is in a song, I believe it's called One Jealous Again, because Mike wrote 2 songs about him and his ex-wife, his first wife's record collections. And the first one's a nice, upbeat, happy song called One Jealous Again. And then when they got a divorce, he called it One Jealous Again, meaning he just had one copy now. And he says, anyways, there's a lyric in that song where he's like, I put on my headphones and cheated with my first love, rock and roll. But before that, I think he says he turns on Walk Among Us, and then she turned on Survivor and watched TV. So anyways, anyone feel free to correct me, but it's somewhere along that line.
I mean, that makes this record even more substantial to me.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It was just like, we've become pretty good friends over the past 1.5, 2 years. And it's just an important like moment in my life. I got to hang out with you, go to this place that I love. And then we went downstairs and we were talking to the counter guy. I don't remember even how it happened, but they were like, oh, did you make a big purchase up there? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, give me your ID. I'll give you a pass to the place. And I didn't know it was like what it was. I just thought it was like a free pass.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, hey, my buddy bought some stuff too. And she's like, oh, well, come over here. And we got freaking lifetime passes to the Punk Rock Museum for these purchases. And I just thought like, I mean, that in itselp, I'm going to be back in Vegas. It's not like I'm not going back. So that just,
gotta go upstairs and see Lance, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, there's so much stuff. Oh, dude. Yeah, that guy was super nice, by the way. Shout out Lance. Yeah. I couldn't remember his name, but Lance. That guy was
Lance, good dude.
Very nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what's your number 2? Because my number 1's gonna make you laugh.
So I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go 3 and 2 because I think you did too. I think you went Clash.
No. You got good. Do number 3 and wait. I don't even know.
I think you did Clash and Misfits. So let me
really at the same time?
Well, after each other.
Shit, I'm sorry.
No problem. I'll be quick.
No, take your take it as long as you want. Bro, my ADHD is just like smack. So
oh yeah, I understand. Totally understand. So my number 3 is the Big Boys Frat Cars. And this is a extremely hard 7-inch to find. And someone I knew was parting with their copy, and each of these, I think there were 500 made. Let me see. Yeah, they're hand numbered. They're 500. This is 350 out of 500.
Crazy.
The band did different kind of artwork on the back and different coloring and stuff like that. This copy was one of Biscuit, the singer's roommates. And although he was into punk rock or in the scene, he liked Biscuit's artwork, and he picked some of the ones he just liked the drawings of the best. So when this copy came available, I knew I had to get it, and so I kind of upgraded my previous copy, which wasn't in as good shape or had a lot of coloring like this. So anyway,
that's badass.
Thank you. So, and I love although Frat Cars, it's a great 7-inch, not my favorite Big Boy song. It's one people like because it's kind of them singing about fraternities and not liking fraternities. And Valhalla Cinema, my band, we covered it in our You Ain't Punk set when we were the Big Boys a couple years ago. So,
what is your favorite Big Boys album? And if there was one album you'd recommend to somebody that wasn't familiar with them, what would that be? Or are they the same?
No, there's the first record is called it's kind of weird. It's got two names, and some people call it by different names. One's called Industry Standard, and the other one's called My Towel, something like that. Yeah, and it's usually in a yellow cover. This is kind of a weird, like, nerd collector rare cover, but usually it's a yellow cover, and they've been reissued. So I think I've even seen this at Randy's store. So if you're going in there and you don't want to pay stupid money for older records like this, like Randy's got like a bunch of good Big Boys records in there. Lullabies, other ones are there, but I would say this is my favorite though, Randy. I'll just refer to it as Industry Standard.
Hell yeah, dude! I just love learning about these bands, talking to you, man. And it's like, we have a slightly different background with our like musical journey. Like mine started with like 77 style street punk stuff.
Yeah.
And I believe yours was more of a hardcore thing, is what you were kind of brought up on, no?
Yeah, you're right.
So we have a slightly different journey. So like there's bands that I don't know how to say it. Like I want to know about them. I do like them and I'm listening to them, but I get to learn stuff from just listening to you talk about the stuff, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. Big Boys is one that I don't know if I'll ever love that band. It's certainly not the way that you do, but like
that's all right.
It's a fun journey to just like jump in and see if I can swim, just let's see if this works for me.
Yeah. There is a documentary that's been in the making for like 7 years. And I think it's finally, I talked to someone that's actually working on it recently, and I believe it should be out within a year. So a lot of times documentaries help me kind of get into bands before, where I was a little kind of gray area there. Like I kind of like them, kind of don't. Once I learned how the recordings and albums and band members came to be, it made me like really like those bands.
That was the Descendants with me. As soon as I watched film, it completely changed my mind on them. I was like, oh shit, I know people that act just like Milo. They're my family. Like
yeah. No, that's a great doc to make you like get you hooked on that band for sure.
I kept the copy that you brought to the shop. It's right there on my shelf. That is staying with me. The documentary, dude. I'm gonna watch it quite a few times on that disc.
Yeah, the Blu-ray bonus features on that are pretty cool.
I didn't even consider that. That's cool. That's badass. Bonus features, something like that would be very, very, very cool. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna hit my number 2.
Yeah,
that sounded weird. And then you do your number 1, then I do my number 1, right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
This was hard not to put at number 1 because not only is it the first. Yeah, although not only is it the first press of Negative Approach's 7-inch, there was a certain amount, I think it was like 100, that the band colored in, and they wrote cryptic messages and not so safe for work drawings on the inside of some of the jackets, which I continue to do now with my band. That's awesome. But this one, as you can see, the face is like colored green, kind of like similar to The Exorcist or Linda Blair in the Exorcist movie. So a friend of mine had this, and I like bird dogged him for years. I was like, hey, if you're ever ready to let that go, we could make a trade or something happen there, And finally, one day, I think he was tired of me pestering him. So he's like, fine, let's trade this. And I was like, I can do that. And so And she,
I gotta ask, dude, what'd
she
you give
became
up for
mine.
that?
What's that?
I said I gotta ask, what'd you give up to get that?
Oh, geez. I want to say it was like maybe like a couple Misfit 7-inches they wanted.
Oh, yeah, that's what dude, there's only a few things that would equal the kind of like not just monetary value, but like relevance of that record. So it would have to be
Yeah.
something like old Misfit stuff or
Yeah. Yeah. So this was hard for me not to put it number one because I will say, I guess of all of my 7-inch records, this is my favorite 7-inch record. I think the songs are perfect. The song "Can't Tell No One" by Negative Approach, I think it's my all-time favorite hardcore song. We covered it one time at a show, and it's just like, and to this day, I think John Brannon and all those guys are like still so ferocious, like at their show, and so they're still doing it, and perfect record in my opinion. I think this is the best American hardcore record.
I'm in no position to argue against that. I love that record though. That's one of the few bands that I haven't been able to see live that I desperately want to before they stop playing.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep like looking at their updates, and we'll make sure that we get there somewhere if they hit Texas, or hell, even just a fun show somewhere. Maybe we can fly out to.
If it's in Texas, that's definitely happening. But if it's outside of Texas, I can maybe swing it. Shout out to Gabe from Pride Kills and now doing vocals in Governor.
Great band.
I remember a long time ago, man. It must have been 03 maybe. I remember when he first introduced me to like hardcore through his band at the time, Pride Kills. I remember telling him like, man, I don't know what this stuff is. I've never heard anything like this. And at the time, the only kind of hardcore I was even remotely aware of was like H2O, Agnostic Front, like Epitaph hardcore. I just considered it punk.
Sure.
And he's like, you've never heard Negative Approach? And I was like, I don't know what that is. And he's like, you're a pretty angry dude. I think you'll like this. And like, he played, as a matter of fact, this isn't my number one, but it should have been in my top 5 probably. This Poison Idea.
Oh, yeah. I remember you got that. Yep.
Yeah. First press of this, Gabe showed me Negative Approach and Poison Idea.
2 of my favorites.
And that basically was like, oh, I guess I like hardcore too. Didn't realize that because those bands fucking rip. But yeah, dude, shout out Gabe for showing me good music and also just being a rad dude. I've known guys since high school. So my number one stays in freaking bubble wrap. That's how much I don't want anybody touching this record.
Drum roll.
I sold. I'm not going to say what I sold exactly because people could figure out the value of it. But I sold some very expensive comic books to be able to buy this record because when I found out that it existed, I couldn't believe it was real because of what it is. I'll explain it in 1 second. Let me pull out his bag.
Here comes that Simple Plan record, y'all.
How'd you know that? That'd be crazy. No.
Mental.
So I have a Tim Time Bomb and Friends like triple LP unopened. And
cool.
Never get opened unless I find a second one that I can open.
Yeah.
Because to my understanding, and I could be wrong with the numbers. I don't actually know how many were made, but I know it was only a few hundred. And I think there's 3 colors. There's a very small number for each color. I think it was bone white, silver, and gold. And I am pretty positive that's a gold one. It's not the American. The American, I think, was the bone white one, or it might have been the silver, but it wasn't the gold. Gold was UK.
Yeah.
I found a guy that had it for, I don't really care. I'll talk about numbers a little bit because it blew my mind that I was able to acquire this. So he had it for, I think it was 800 and something bucks on Discogs. And I was like, at this point in my life, there was no way I was buying a record that was that much money. And I said, hey, man, I emailed him. I said, hey, I don't have a lot of knowledge on this record, but, and I kind of gave him my spiel about how much Rancid means to me. I was like, I see that you got a big store with a lot of stuff. Is that a record that's important to you? And he's like, nope, it's just a piece of inventory to me. And I was like, that's actually,
oh boy.
Yeah. He didn't give a shit about it at all. He had a record store. And I was like, what's the absolute lowest price that you'll go? I will buy this off site with no fees involved. And I don't mind. I'm not trying to jip you. I just said, if you can go lower, what would you be willing to take? And then he emailed me back almost immediately. And he's like, here's my email address. Hit me up. So I did. And he was like, okay, so at this point in time, remember that I had never spent more than maybe $28 on a record in my whole life.
Okay.
And so he's like, I could probably do $600 plus shipping. And I was like, okay, so like $620 roughly, right? Because I was going to give him like a little bit of money to make sure it got shipped right. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna. So I go to my wife and I'm like, hey, I know I just started buying records again. Because so also my prior record collection was kind of small because my CD collection was really big. I never really was into like first press records much until much later in life. So I never, and that's why I never spent a lot on record. But anyhow, she's like, how much is this thing? And I said, well, look, after this guy's record, the next one available is over $1,000. And I was like, so if I don't get this, I'm probably never going to have this. And he's got me at like 40-50% less than the next one available if I buy it from him through PayPal. And she's like, well, how are you going to get the money? Because we don't really have the money for this right now. And I was like, well, I was going to sell my comics. And she's like, or some of my comics. I owned a comic book shop at the time when this was all going down, so I had a pretty substantial collection. And she's like, oh, well, if you're selling your own stuff to get that, I don't care. And I was like, yeah, except that at the time we only had 2 kids. I said, we got 2 kids and a lot of responsibilities. So if something becomes liquid cash, it's no longer my stuff. It's cash. So I have to come talk to you about this. And I can't just sell a comic book, have the cash, know we need to pay a bill, but it's still go buy a record. Like, that's crazy to me. So she's like, oh, okay. She understood. She's like, no, we're okay. Go buy the record. And when I got it in, I just stared at it. I held it in my hand and stared at it. And I actually have some CDs from the same collection of music, which are also very expensive and hard to find. But this is Tim Armstrong from Rancid. And for like a year, he did a cover song every day and then uploaded it to like, I think the Rancid website or something. And at this point in time, I was getting sober. And so I didn't even know what was happening. I completely missed all of it, which is another reason why it was so important to me. Because I was like, how did I miss all this shit happening for my favorite band?
Yeah.
And, it's just a triple LP, but I mean, I don't see them come up for sale a lot. There's a couple of them on Discogs probably, but they're very, very pricey. And yeah, this is my prized possession. That and that Misfits record, probably you could probably just toss a coin in the air, see which one on what given day means the most to me. But that's the first record I ever bought that was actually valuable, was that one. Yeah, that's my favorite record. That's never getting open until I would like to have a second copy because I'd love to play it, but I have some of it on CD. I'm happy like that. So
yeah.
I'm very curious as to what your number one is.
Okay. So not necessarily the most expensive record in my collection, but it was the one I think most recently that made me like the most happy to get because it was hard to find.
That's awesome.
And I had pestered people for it. Some people, when they went to look at their copy, they had that clutch to the pearls moment where they like were going to get traded to me, but then they decided they liked the record and they didn't want to. And anyways, I was having the hardest time trying to find it anywhere, man. eBay, Discogs, people I knew that had their copy didn't want to part with it. And so finally, a friend of mine in Chicago, I think he realized how much I wanted this. And so he parted with a mint copy of his Effigies Haunted Town. And Randy, you probably remember me like pestering people about this, even I think Bill from the Beltones, like in 1, 2, 3, 4 Go. I'm like, hey, do you have this? And it's been such a hard chase to get this because I keep running across. This came out in 1981 on Enigma Records, and this a couple years, or not Enigma, I'm sorry, Autumn Records.
Okay.
Then 2 years later, they did the second press with an extra song on a label called Enigma. Enigma Records was kind of a major label imprint to make look like an indie. So like the Big Boys were on there, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were on there, I think TSOL was on there. And so that copy is easier to find. So finding this one though on Autumn Records, the first press, is really hard. This is my favorite EP of all time, and it's a statement. Yeah, and I think it's there's a good Chicago punk documentary. I think it's called like You Weren't There or something like that, but it's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it on YouTube.
I've actually watched that documentary.
Yeah, there's a great part about the effigies in there, and Naked Ray Gun is like, I think the kind of the band most people associate with Chicago, but most of the people in that documentary, even the people that had beef with the effigies, still admitted this was the best record that came out of Chicago in that kind of hardcore punk era. And
sorry.
No. It's just just my favorite. I think especially currently, it's like my favorite record I own. Like,
dude, that's so badass. I'm glad you finally got one because I know.
Like, man, I would have been happy to find a ratty copy, Randy, or what people call like a beater copy. You know, when they are a placeholder copy. But man, all these songs, dude, are perfect. Below the Drop, Drawing Box, Haunted Town, which Nightbirds also cover. Mob Clash, We'll Be Here Tomorrow is another big one. But yeah, man, this just this like made my day because like I said, it was probably one of the hardest searches I ever had for a record, and it was infuriating because it's not as rare as some of the other records I've shown you prior to this, my other four. In fact,
Right.
I say the other four are probably all way harder to find than this record normally. But it just kept eluding me, you know?
That's what I was going to say is I remember you being like, man, I keep seeing copies of this that are second and third press. I cannot find a first press. And I was like, you know, and I don't know a lot about the band. So I was like, well, you know, I'll ask some people that I know, which didn't, you know, yield any fruit at all because I don't know people that know that band necessarily. What exactly would you say they sound like? I'm very much, I've only heard a couple of their songs. I can't even recall what they sounded like.
So I want everyone to go listen to a song called Body Bag. If I said, Can't Tell No One by Negative Approach is my favorite hardcore song, Body Bag is probably number 2 by the Effigies, right under that. Body Bag, Haunted Town. Man, they were kind of known as Strike Under and the Effigies. For anyone that's watched that documentary I was mentioning, the Chicago punk documentary, it's these were the first 2 bands with a little bit of like aggressive edge to them. They weren't just playing like catchy kind of bouncy punk numbers like say like the Buzzcocks or something like that. This is stuff with like a lot of intensity. So anyways, and it was yeah, they're very well represented in that documentary if anyone wants to go see it. Like I said, I think it's even streaming on YouTube.
Dude, I'm going to have to rewatch that because I watched it once, but I don't think I was really even aware of them. So I didn't really comprehend what they were talking about.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I was like, I know Naked Ray Gun, and I didn't really know any of the other bands. And
dude, my representation of Chicago is like Broadway's Alkaline Trio, Lawrence Arms.
Yeah, that's what I grew up on too. Yeah,
the era like way after this is like the stuff. Like, oh yeah, Chicago. People are like, no, bro, there's like a whole thing before that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm exactly the same. So I've rewatched that documentary a bunch as I was like jonesing for this record, and there's so many great bands from that scene that are Articles of Faith, Savage Beliefs, Negative Elements, Rights of the Accused. There's so many bands from there that deserve a lot more attention than they get, you know. But yeah, and Effigies, unfortunately, their singer had an accident a few years ago and passed, John Kesdy.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, so they have a new guy with them, and I saw him at Punk Rock Bowling in May when we went there. You and I were at different shows that night, and this was like the Friday, but it was great. It's like Stalag 13, the Effigies, and Negative Approach. So I
wanted to go to that show, but I just.
So I think I blew out all my energy on the first night I was there. I was just like in heaven.
Those clubs
I had no energy left for 7 seconds after Negative Approach. After seeing Stalag 13, Effigies, and Negative Approach, I'm like, I remember seeing Andy Pohl from 31 Records saying hi to him, and then I was like, I'm going back to the hotel if I can make it all the way back there on Fremont Street.
Wait, Andy from Sell the Heart?
Yeah. He was at that show. Yeah, he was at that show. It was the first night of Punk Rock Bowling.
That dude's pretty cool.
Yeah,
dude, that festival, like, I can't wait for 27 because I'm sad that they're not having it this year because that was like that was a thing, bro. Like I've never experienced anything like that, man. It was insane. Like that shit was just. I mean, I was walking around the whole time just like, what is going on? Like,
yeah,
people like you were telling me like you're gonna run into some people in the lobby, and then the people that I ran into that maybe I hadn't spoke to in person before, but that knew who I was, it was really cool to get stopped a few times and just, say, hey man, I recognize you and just I like your stuff, and I'm like, I mean, it's like very humbling,
yeah.
and then I got to talk to like all the dudes in Beton Arme were there. They were hanging out a bunch. They did that so fun, man. Bouncing Souls guys were walking around the lobby just chill. It was so weird, man.
Yeah, I remember sometimes we were at different places and you would send me random texts. I'm like, here's Randy with the Stearns. Here's Randy with a Bob Mold of Husker Du and Sugar.
Bro.
Here's Randy with the Bouncing Souls, who he's been, trying to talk with. Here's Randy with Colin and Cox Bar. So I was like, I could tell you're having a time of your life. Just
yeah, for sure. One of the best experiences of my whole life. Absolutely.
While you were working, filming all that content and everything too. So, I mean, yeah, so is a fun weekend, but it's an exhausting weekend.
Yeah, when you're doing the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people take for granted what I drop on the channel all the time. And I'm not trying to like get a pat on the back. I choose to do it. I don't have to do it. Man, it's a lot of work. Even like a local show, it's typically a lot of work,
Well, if they could have been there and seen all the work you've done, then they would give you a pat on the back. Because every year, me and Charlie, when we go to Punk Rock Bowling, we look for YouTube footage after the fact, and it's hard to find. Like you're basically hoping someone put their phone camera to catch some of someone's set, and you had multiple sets from that weekend, even club shows too. So like, you definitely went above and beyond. I'm
really proud of all the footage. Next time I get to go, though, I did that little vlog thing for the Bay Area. I'm gonna do that again for like a Vegas trip again. Now that I'm getting better at doing this stuff, because man, that's another thing people don't know. I didn't go to school for none of this shit. I just started trying to film stuff, and I'm getting better at doing it. So, we'll see how it goes, man. Another couple of records that I didn't even think about was that it took me a while to find a first press of Murder City Devils and Name and Blood. Like that's and Empty Bottle. Yeah. I got both of those. Those are real important records to me from like way when I was young, dude.
Yeah.
I'm still on the hunt for Jagged Thoughts from American Steel. I don't know that it's super expensive, but I don't have one. But I got
so let's answer that question. We showed the top 5 we have. What's maybe the next one we wish we really had? Like what would yours be?
The next one, let's see. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I haven't even thought of that really. I've been in work mode so much recently.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
What's on my watch list that I'm like jonesing for right now? Honestly, I don't know that there's a ton out there. As soon as we're done talking, I'm gonna click with like 5 or 6 things. What are you looking for? Maybe it'll help jog my memory. I know I'm looking for stuff.
My number one, it's funny because my number one, I guess now that I've got a Haunted Town, was the MDC 7-inch they had called John Wayne Was a Nazi.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of MDC, but that 7-inch in their first self-titled record or their first record are so unbelievably good, and it's getting to be a record that's going stupid in value. And so anytime one pops up somewhere like on an auction site like eBay, it goes for stupid money.
Okay.
So it's getting harder and harder and harder to find a first press. So I would love to find a first press of MDC's actually they were called the Stains on that first one.
Okay.
Yeah, they were called the Stains, and then when they went to tour in California on SST Records, there was already a band there called the Stains.
Oh, okay.
So then they changed their name to MDC or Millions of Dead Cops or Multinational Death Corporation, whatever they changed it to a few times. But so it says the Stains, John Wayne Was a Nazi. That's the first press. Okay. The second press says MDC, John Wayne Was a Nazi.
I have come up with 3 things that I'm looking for. I knew if I thought for a second, I'd figure it out. And It's not like super, it's kind of basic. I would like to get my hands on some first press Op Ivy stuff on wax.
Sure.
Because I've got it all. I've got like their first, I've got the first press of cassette tape from '89 with no barcode, white cassette shell. And I got it signed when I was hanging out with Jesse.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I'd like to get some first press Op Ivy wax. And then any rancid first press I don't have, which I've only got the Outcome of the Wolves. I think everything else I have is like, represses. But there's that One Man Army 7-inch that I've never seen it. I've never heard it. I just want it because I know it exists, and that's like one of my that they're almost as important to me as Rancid. And somebody reached out and said they have one, and I'm waiting to see if he sends it my way.
Nice.
Yeah, like this will probably be January will already topple my best record I got of the year. If I can get my hands on that, I'm gonna lose my shit because I've never even heard it. Dude, the only person I've ever even met that has got one is Bill from the Belltones, and he's like not a tech dude, so he has no idea how to get it on his computer. He's like trying to figure out how to let me hear it, and I don't know anybody else that's got one. I've never seen it in person. I've never even seen a cover of it. Have you ever heard of this record?
No, I don't believe so. I love that band, but I just have like their first LP that was on Adeline. I think that's all I have vinyl wise.
I have everything that they've put out except this 7-inch, and I didn't know it existed until I can't even remember who told me about it. It might have been Mark from TKO. I can't remember who told me, but they said, "Oh, you like women? Have you heard their first 7-inch?" And I was like, I guess not. Like, what is this? They're like, it sounds nothing like. It sounds more like 7 seconds. And I was like, stop it, bro. What?
Wow.
It's supposed to be like almost like a hardcore record, bro.
Wow.
I know. Wow. When I get it, I'll bring it to your house. We can sit there and listen to it together.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to.
I'm gonna get one eventually, regardless. But if this dude, so here's the cool thing, man. You know what? Let me shout him out by name because people are super nice, dude. And I think that when you treat somebody nice, like I don't know, it doesn't happen all the time. So it's really cool. Let's see. Yeah, I got an email randomly, and I was like, "Stop it, bro!" Like his name's Steve Thomas. Shout out Steve, man. He said, "I've got this. I know how important it is to you. I'll send it to you." And I was like, "Well, how much do you want for it?" He goes, "Like I don't sell records." And so I was like, "Oh, well, let me help you figure out a value." And I just misunderstood what he was saying. And he goes, "No, dude, I just want to give it to you." And I was like,
"Wow,
I know." Ooh. So I don't even have a clue what this thing is valued at. To me, it's priceless. I don't care because it'll never go up for sale. I will not sell that record. I don't even care. I'd rather be homeless and still have it. Like if I get it in my hands, it's staying with me forever. But it's just really nice to even I sent him a box. I said, because we were talking, and he's like, I got a couple other things I want to send you just because he's like, I don't use them. And he was talking about, I'm gonna try to figure out how to box it up. And I was like, I heard him say that. And I was like, well, would it help you if I sent you stuff just ready made? You just open it, box it, send it back to me. Is that way it makes it in the condition that you sent it in? And he goes, actually, yes. And so I packed up a box and I was like, just follow the instructions, bro. It's real easy. Just pack it up like it is here.
Oh, wow.
And so I sent it to him. He said he got it, and we've been talking. He's very, very nice. Yeah, I will be doing an unboxing video if that shows up at my house soon. I'm gonna trick out. That's what I've been looking for. That the Downfall was really important to me. Downfall one was a big one, man. That was a big deal. Anything that's real scarce by those guys, because they don't do a lot of stuff that's small. Most of the stuff Rancid guys do, it's wide release, man. They're very popular and famous band, so they don't have stuff that's real hard to find anymore. And so it's cool to have. I actually got last thing, I'll let you get out of here. I know it's been an hour already. I got Lars's like tour used and Out Come the Wolves 96 tour lanyard.
Oh, that's rad. That's right.
Like I like shit like that. It's just I'm a big Rancid stan. So like all the stuff that I can get from them, that's what I want. So
yeah. I just one more thing on Rancid real quick. One of the things I was always really disappointed was I was a huge Lookout Records fan, especially in the 90s. And there was I think this was in some book or documentary, they talked about this, but at some point, Lookout Records, I think they made a deal with like the Rancid guys and Brett Gurewitz, where Downfall was going to compile all their music and Brett Gurewitz was going to remaster it. And it was going to be released as a Lookout Records release. And someone, I couldn't tell whether they were serious or joking in a documentary, and I think it was Jesse Lucius. I think he said like they actually had someone designated to answer the phone calls whenever someone would call and ask when that was coming out. Because apparently so many people like pestered them about, hey, when's the Downfall release going to come out? When's the Downfall, back when Lookout Records was still going strong. And I figured, even when Lookout ended, I'm like, okay, well, Epitaph will then pick it up, or someone will pick it up, right?
I'm pretty surprised it doesn't exist in any official.
Yeah, here we are, like 25 years later. It's like, where is it? So it's like, what are they waiting for? I mean,
Well, you would think that Tim would have already put it out on either Rancid Records or Hellcat.
yeah. So I'm wondering if it's just the rights are tied up with someone or something. I don't know, or maybe it just who knows. But I've been, because you can go through the internet and find little bits and pieces of songs, but it's like, for what they were saying and how they were going to remaster it and do all this, I'm like, man, that's what we wanted. It's like, make it happen. So maybe that's a record we'll be talking about one day.
That would be awesome. I know that the 10-inch that I have, it's got like.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had anything on vinyl. I knew there was CD comps with some stuff on it. But so when you first showed that on one of your videos, I went to look at it on Discogs. I was like, man, that's really cool. I had no idea that thing was of this world. So
I think it's only from Japan, and I know it's a bootleg, but I think there's like 3 songs that sound like really good, and they're all the 3 songs from the compilations, and then the rest of it, the quality just takes a nosedive, and it's like, I still love it, but it's a tough listen if you're not into like grimy recordings, which has taken me a long time to really get into that. But like, I mean, even with like Misfits, I got introduced to them through American Psycho. So by the time I got to anything like this old stuff, I couldn't hardly listen to it as a youngster. I was a young kid, man. I still prefer a melodic, more polished sound, even at 43. And but I've got an appreciation for sounds that I didn't used to even be able to listen to as a younger man. So.
Sure.
Yeah, man, that's some of our favorite records that we've got. I'm sure me and Kevin will come up with another topic to talk about one of these days here in the next few months. But anybody that's out there that's enjoying this video, please go listen to their new song, Fuchsia Bricks. It's on all the streaming platforms. New split LP coming with them and Lonesome Haunts fellas. But yeah, man, this is this got a full LP. I'm tripping over here. Do they got a?
So no. I just wanted to tell everyone we have a new song called Fuchsia Breaks, and it's named after record nerd stuff, like a rare version of a Misfits record with the Fuchsia Bricks. So
you told me that, and it made so much sense. I was like, oh, I'm not even surprised that that's what that song's about now. I didn't know it first. When you told me, I was like, oh, that tracks.
I knew we had to have some record nerd thing, like for a title. When I was writing the lyrics to that, I was like, it's got to have a record nerd thing that some people will get. So
that's awesome. Dude, it's getting a really good response. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but people are liking it a lot.
Yeah, I'm enjoying people saying like, hey, such and such put it here, such and such put it here, or they heard it on this or that. So it's been great. It's all the Brandon wrote us in our band thread today, and he was real excited about places he had seen it. And we appreciate you playing it.
Oh, of course.
So very excited to release the 12-inch EP with Lonesome Haunts, and their stuff is really going to blow people away. They're so good. So we're excited.
It's such a weird sound, like clash of sounds.
Yeah.
But since we all know each other, it feels like it makes perfect sense to put it out,
Yeah, for sure.
I like split records, man. It's like you could even just be in the mood for one side of it sometimes, but it gives you 2 different, at least sometimes that they do. Some splits are just like 2 bands that sound identical, and you're like, yeah, I can't even tell which side's which. But I like it when you have like some variants of sound. It's nice.
Yeah. I think it'll be enjoyable to listen to it, whether you're listening to it, on vinyl or digitally. I think it'll be a fun listen.
I need to get the Lonesome Haunt dudes on here and have them come in and talk about stuff because, I know them, but not super well. And I'd love for them to get some their face in front of my audience. I got a growing audience. It would be nice.
They're some of the greatest guys, man. And they're all like cool and composed. Where my band were like, like cats shaken up in a bag and wiry and fidgety. But those guys are like Mick Jones, kind of cool. Like they're, some of them played in other bands, like I think like the Suffers, and like they're just cool, smooth guys. And when they play shows, their sound is just so good.
They're so good live. They sound exactly like they do on record. It's kind of wild, honestly. I didn't realize it would sound that good live. I was pretty blown away.
Bart is like the male Taylor Swift too. I think if you did him bad in a relationship, he's gonna get you in a song. And unlike me, like he's so clear and transparent with his vocal where you can understand every word he says. And so whenever I'm listening to you guys will all hear the new record soon, and when I was listening to it, I was like, oh man, she must have done Bart bad, you know. Like, so I kind of feel like I'm a fan of that band. I think the way young people are a fan of Taylor Swift, I'm like, I want to hear like who they're about to write about.
I 100% want to know who they're talking about. I'm like,
Yeah,
who is that? Who cheated on you with your best friend? That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, Bart, point him out.
That's awesome, dude. Man, Kevin, it's been a blast. I appreciate your time, my friend.
Always great to talk to you.
This weekend at the show, guys, girls, everybody, don't forget, come out on Saturday night. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. It's only $10. Shit, you come by early enough and I'm in a good enough mood, I'll buy your ticket to get in. Just come fucking hang out. That's all we care about. Yeah,
come see Randy too. And you know, my dog did a lot of PSA announcements for this, so it's got to be worth that.
But yeah, man, come hang out. You see me and you know me, say hi. I'm not bashful, so come by and talk to me. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that shit. We'll see you next time on Punk Rock Review. Peace.
Bye.